Greetings, Flesh Wound Horror freaks, and welcome to a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Horror. I'm Daniel Shine, joined as always by producer Todd Loya.
What's up?
Pugs Dread.
Namaste.
And we have some new faces tonight. Some you may recognize, depending how long you've been watching Todd and I. But first off, Jamie of Jamie's Heart, and also on Region Free with me. Jamie,
Hi.
how goes it?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Awesome.
And then Melissa of Creepy Girl, and longtime listeners know that Melissa and I go back to the Creep Show radio days.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing tonight, Melissa?
Doing great. Ready to talk horror.
Yeah, absolutely. Always talking horror. So Jamie, for those unaware that haven't watched Region Free, which you should on YouTube, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you find the genre? And what are you into?
Well, when I was 3, my parents went to a movie. They went to the drive-in together and brought me along. And the bill was Freebie and the Bean and Jaws. And I stayed awake through all of Freebie and the Bean. And then they thought I'd fall asleep, for Jaws. But I knew Jaws was coming. And I said, I'm not going to go to sleep. And so I didn't. And they were okay with it as long as I was okay with it. When the part came with the shark, biting the boat in half, my parents put their hands up, in front of my face. And here I am in the back seat going like, what are you doing? I want to see what you're doing. What is going on? And they were like, you really want to see this stuff? And I was like, well, you told me everything on TV was fake. So I took that seriously. And so that's how all of it started, because my mom saw not only that, but also I was obsessed with Grimm's fairy tales. So I was having my mom read Sleeping Beauty to me over and over and over again, and all these other ones from the Grimm's fairy tales book. So I already had like a fascination with the dark side, and Jaws just brought me right into it. And then after that, my parents were like, well, okay, if she's this age and she understands that everything she sees on TV is fake at 3 years old, I think it's safe to say that we can allow her, unless she gets scared, to watch whatever she wants. And within reason, of course. I didn't watch another horror movie until I think it was 1981, maybe, when my babysitters wanted to watch Friday the 13th on HBO at my house. And I begged my mom. I'm like, please, please, please let me watch it. Please, please, please. And she said, okay. And pretty much since that day, I've been completely obsessed with horror. All horror books, all horror movies, anything horror I can get my hands on. And obviously, I have an obsession with Twin Peaks. Yes. So that's pretty much how it started. And how I got into the YouTube thing was through Twin Peaks, because I found out that the show was coming back for a season 3 after 25 years of being on hiatus. And I was like, what? So I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I have to go online right now and I have to find out what's going on. So I get online and I start watching Cameron, his Obnoxious and Anonymous channel.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever made a comment, he responded right away. He realized, oh, this girl knows her stuff. Cause I really do. I know my stuff. I've got all kinds of, memorabilia and all kinds, even a script up there, So he realized it, and then he started talking to me. And then James, who he does a show with back then, he started talking to me too. And then pretty soon, when the show, when James split off to do his own show, about a year after that, I ended up on Coffee Time, Twin Peaks Coffee Time with them. And that's how I got into YouTube. And then Lauren found me because we bonded over Hellfest, and that's how I ended up on Region Free. So that's it.
Awesome. Cameron also on Region Free.
Yep.
Jaws is a good first one, because that's real horror. Made everybody afraid of the water. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It scared me, but I loved it. I love to be scared and I love to look into the dark. So
Yeah, definitely a movie that hasn't aged. It's still perfect as
yes.
is.
Yes.
So Melissa, obviously, I know part of your journey with horror theater radio, then creep show radio. But what made you fall in love with the horror genre? What's your like earliest horror memory?
Well, I mean, my whole family is into horror. I mean, when I was little, we always watched Creature Feature. Um, I remember being at a drive-in, but I'm much older, so the movie I saw was The Other. I don't know if you
Ooh,
remember that, but that's
no.
Mhm.
the old one, not the one with
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman, but with the
Yeah.
twin brothers.
Yeah, based on the Thomas Tryon novel. Yeah.
Yeah, and my mom was on a date or something, and we were supposed to be sleeping in the back seat, and we saw that. Jaws, I remember too, because I remember I was afraid to go in the swimming pool after I watched that, which was bad. But yeah, I mean, I just grew up on it. We always watched horror. I mean, the one movie that my mother told me I could never watch was Texas Chainsaw, and I couldn't watch that one till I turned 18. And then when I saw it, it was kind of a letdown because I was like, what? I mean, we watched everything, like all the Jasons, Freddy Krueger. Phantasm was my absolute favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was my first good, like gore and, you know, the little silver balls with the drills and the blood. And, but I mean, what I love in horror the most, and I always tell people, I never understand why horror movies aren't celebrated more in like award shows and everything else, because there's so much more art that goes into it. There's so much more emotion. I mean, the biggest emotion that a person can show is fear. I mean, you can't fake fear. Like if you don't show real fear, the movie doesn't work. I mean, happy, sad, all that they show on other movies, that's easy. But fear is when you make people believe your fear. I mean, that is big. And the artistry of, everybody always says, like, why do you like all that gory stuff? You're so weird. And I'm like, because it's art. If someone can chop someone's hand off and I can look away and cringe, then that is true art. I mean, that is somebody made that hand and did all that. It takes a lot of people to do something like that. It's not, as simple as you think. And it's just the artistry of it, the acting, I just feel like it's so much bigger than any other film, any other, comedy. Yeah, if it can make you laugh, I like comedy too, but horror, if it can scare you, or it can make you believe the fear, or it can make you jump. I mean, there's so many things that they have to accomplish to make that horror film good. But
Mhm.
I love gore. I'm a gore whore, and it's because of the art. I love, anything that's so gory it makes me turn away. That is my favorite kind of horror film. I mean, that would be, up top of my list. And I mean, some people say that, the gore is uh takes away from a horror film, and all that, but I don't think so. I think it adds to it. I think it adds to the cringe and the horror. And but I grew up on it. My whole family still watches horror. I mean, it's just I watch a horror movie probably every day of my life. I mean, there's not many days that go by since, streaming started and everything. And I mean, I go back to VHS days,
Mhm.
and nowadays the way horror is so accessible, and the way there's like so many horror movies being made every day. I mean, I would probably watch at least a horror movie a day. I mean, I'm always watching horror movies. I'm all about it.
Yeah, it's Shutter now, everything. Yeah, it's easy
Yeah, I
to,
love Shudder. I love
yeah.
Shudder.
Me too.
Shudder has movies that I like. It has a lot of older stuff, but it has newer stuff too.
Yeah.
But it always impresses me because there was a movie on it, Dial Code for Santa or something.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't believe I never saw that movie. Like, they always pull movies out that have been around since the 80s that I never saw. And I'm like, how did I miss that one?
Yeah, Deadly Games. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Well, that one's a little easier to miss to make you feel better. It really didn't have any kind of U.S. release until Vinegar Syndrome put it out. And even before that, worldwide was kind of hard to come by.
That was
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
movie. I've watched it several times since it's been on Shudder.
Yeah.
Love it, love it.
Yeah, Shudder's creating a whole new generation of horror fans that are learning what a giallo is, and I think Shudder's very important to the future podcasters out there.
And Joe Bob Briggs. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
my hero. That's my hero. I love him. And
It's funny.
I used to read his reviews in the newspaper. That's where I first heard him. He used to write reviews in the newspaper.
Yeah. I saw him. I read those too. And I also, my first experience with him was when he had the show on, was it Showtime or no, the movie channel?
TNT.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that was after.
Oh, you're
Oh,
you're
it was
going
the
on
movie
back.
channel.
No, but
You're right.
Monster Vision. Are you talking about Monster
That's
Vision?
all.
Yeah.
This is all before all of that.
Movie channel. It was the
He
movie
used-
channel.
The movie channel. He used to have the same trailer and the whole setup exactly the same when he was on the movie channel, and I used to watch him religiously on there. And my mom was in love with him. My mom used to have a big crush on Joe Bob Briggs.
I'm
so.
probably your mom's age because I was always in love with him too.
And the one thing about him is people like to complain now about how trying to like discovering new stuff, like you don't have the video store to go hunting around. But with Joe Bob, he brings 2 movies to like on our other show, Kruger, he's younger, so he's discovered so many things that us older fans are like, well, yeah, of course that we know that it's a classic, but I love that that's what it's doing for people. Like, even if I don't watch it religiously, because I've seen pretty much everything he's playing, it's just such a great thing, I think, for younger horror fans.
Yeah.
It is.
I can listen to him talk when he's so interesting, everything he says.
Yeah.
Like, he knows, I don't know how he knows so much. Like, he's like friends with everybody in the business. And yeah, I could listen to him for hours.
Yeah, it's nice seeing horror hosts kind of come back a little bit. Not that they ever went away completely, but I was pleasantly surprised how many new fans Joe Bob has now because of Shudder. So definitely warms my horror soul. So yeah, it's so cool to have you guys on and you back, Melissa. So tonight we're talking a really interesting movie. I think one that had a lot of mixed reviews. Another one that's kind of been a theme with some recent shows we've done. Some films that just, had very it's a masterpiece. I didn't like it. Very wide and everything in between. And that is 2008's Pontypool from director Bruce McDonald. And so Pontypool follows a controversial shock jock, Grant Macy, played by Stephen Mchattie, who has been kicked out of the big city airwaves and is now the early morning host at a small town radio station in sleepy Pontypool, Ontario. What begins as another boring day of school bus cancellations quickly turns deadly when reports start piling in of people developing strange speech patterns and committing horrendous acts. But there's something coming in on the news wires. Is this really happening? Before long, Grant and the station staff find themselves trapped as they discover the insane behavior taking over the town is actually a deadly virus spread through language itself. All right. So, well, ladies first tonight, since it's always usually us dudes. Jamie, this was a first time watch, I know, for you. You just watched this, I believe, yesterday. So what did you think? Because it's a really unique movie.
It is a unique movie, and I really like the message that it's sending. because this is something I've been trying to, talk about for probably 15 straight years now, about how shock jocks on the radio are poisoning the well with their poison, their lies, their rhetoric. And people like Rush Limbaugh come to mind. So I like that part of it, but I didn't like the movie on a whole. And here's why. Like, the whole time I felt it was going too slow. I had trouble understanding what really was going on. It's like they needed more dialogue, or the dialogue was confusing, or it felt like something was missing.
Mhm.
I didn't like it fully. I'm gonna say I probably, if I was gonna, do this on my channel, I would give it two and a half hearts probably, because by the time it got to the end, all I wanted was it for it to be over. And I kept telling my husband, I'm like, this is so annoying to me, and I just want it to be over. I was very annoyed by I can't quite pinpoint exactly what it is. Like I said, it just felt slow. It felt like I did like certain parts, like the end, when it got to the end. I like that, I felt confused for a lot of the movie. So I think it was just a lack of, good dialogue, good explanations on exactly what was happening. I realized that we're not necessarily supposed to know what was happening, but I think that they could have made it a lot clearer, that it was something having to do with the poisoning of people through speech in the
Mhm.
beginning. It would have made it better for me had I realized that towards the beginning. I think. Other than that, I liked it. Okay. So here's the other thing. I didn't really care at all about any of the characters. I don't feel like I got to know any of them. I think the person I cared about most, we don't even see, and he's the helicopter guy. And
Oh
he's
yeah.
not even in a helicopter.
And
He's the only one that I was like, oh, I hope he gets away. Also the girl that was in the military, that works in the radio station, I thought she was going to be the hero.
Mhm.
And it did flip it on me, and she ends up being, taken over first, which surprised me, but not in a good way. I was like, oh, this isn't going the way I wanted it to go. And I was hoping that she was going to come up with all the, that it was going to be the military, putting something out there. Because at first they don't tell you it's language. And then that guy, the guy that comes in there with them and hides, I can't think of his name.
The doctor.
The
Yeah.
doctor guy.
Yeah, he comes out of nowhere, and you know nothing about him, and he just starts explaining everything. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And that whole family, that whole family that comes in, I don't really understand what they were doing there. And I have some issues with,
the black
how they were dressed up. Yeah. So it was all confusing, and it kind of floored me, and I kind of like that, but at the same time, I really didn't. So I gotta say, I'm gonna say I didn't like this movie very much.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. I figured it'd be split because this movie kind of always is. And I should say it's actually based on a Tony Burgess novel, Pontypool
Yes.
Changes Everything, which is different. Like that one's like from the POV of the infected, so it is a different film. And I like that this really it shuns everything. I mean, it's not the Romero zombies, and it's not the pre-Romero West African voodoo lore. And I don't know, I still just really like you said, Jamie, the whole concept of language infecting a person like that. I thought was really clever and timely today. Melissa, let's see if you're in the love it or hate it camp. What did you think of Pontypool 2008? Well, we might have reviewed this at some point. I couldn't remember, but
yeah, I've seen it a few times. Is it Okay, so are we like spoiler free or?
Not really now.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've got a few spoilers. I
Yeah,
know
okay.
it's an older film, so
We'll just
yeah,
go
I
with
wanted to
it.
make
good.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, this film, it, I I agree with a lot that she said. I mean, that family that came in, I was really confused by that. It was almost like they were making a joke. I don't know.
There
With
is
the
humor
gun.
in
La,
this.
la, la,
Yeah,
la. I was like, what the hell was that?
yeah.
Yeah.
With the black face. I was like, really? But
Probably. Yeah, I was gonna say they might cut that part out today.
yeah, I was like, what the heck? But but yeah, it was kind of interesting. I've watched it a few times, and there's all these little it's kind of like a puzzle you got to figure out. I mean, the very beginning he's talking about Honey the cat, and they tell you there is that guy he records, and he says, um you know don't say words of endearment. And the thing they show at the beginning is Honey the cat, Honey. And when they're storming the doctor's office, they said they're all holding the Honey posters. So somehow, I think that at the beginning of this film, like that whole radio broadcast he did about Honey the cat, like supposedly started it all. And then there's a lot of people that have a theory on the Canadian where the French speaking and the English speaking kind of collide, because it says don't speak in English. And then,
Yeah.
and where everyone's speaking gibberish, are they speaking gibberish or are they speaking French? But it is very confusing. It has a very complicated, there is a lot of talking in it, and it's very confusing what they're saying. It gets very confusing. Even when the doctor comes in and he's trying to explain it, it's just like, what is he even saying? And
It's
he's
a
such a weird character. He didn't really fit into the thing. Like he seemed obscure, like something weird coming into the story.
He's probably the weakest part because he kind of existed to just sort of explain it in case the audio or the characters couldn't figure out what was going on. So I can kind of see that criticism.
Yeah. But there was a lot of things in it that I liked, because I liked that when films take place in one place, it's really hard to be successful. Like people want to see more. But they did a good job at it just being in that one place. It was suspenseful. I felt like I was just waiting for them to come in, Even having seen it a couple times, I still felt, a little anxious, like, oh, here they come, and are they going to get in? And I always think that's weird when I watch a movie more than once and I'm still like scared, like, are they gonna, okay, you already seen this, but I still felt that, like I felt that anxiousness. And then I didn't understand the very end,
Yes,
where him and her are talking, and it's in black and white or something, I think. And I don't remember seeing that before. So I might have not seen that when I watched it before, because I think it's a thing kind of after the credits.
it is. It's an after the credit scene, and it made it. It was almost like it came from a completely different movie.
Yeah, and it was weird.
Yeah, it looked to me like Sin City.
Yeah,
and I didn't understand the point they were trying to get across with that. So I mean, I'm a hater of films that don't explain things and leave it to your interpretation. But this film, I don't know, it almost feels like a puzzle to me, so I enjoy it more because I'm trying to figure out this whole linguistic involvement. And where I thought, hey, it must have started with that Honey the cat, because honey is an endearment, which it said not to say. And then the kill kiss thing, with the kiss, and I didn't really get that, but how that canceled it out. But something like making good to bad and bad to good, or something.
It's love canceling out hate.
Yeah, like it's still very confusing though. it still feels confusing. But I mean, I like the movie because it's a little bit original for zombie. It's not a zombie movie, but it is a virus, and it's not a genetic virus, but a linguistic. The guy who wrote the book is actual
the screenwriter too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually like into linguistics and all that. So that's why he made this movie about the language and stuff. But I still felt I think like not everybody would like this because it will be confusing. I mean, it really will, the way they go back and forth explaining it. But but somebody that likes a puzzle might like it because you're trying to understand it and figure it out. And
it's a film.
A little bit original.
It's a film you'll have a discussion about later too, which I think is always good. Like I said, I figured it would be split tonight because it is one of those ones. Like I said, masterpiece or I hated it. You know,
yeah, but I'm kind of in the middle. I don't hate it, and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but it's not like one that I'm like this. Like a lot of people say, it's the best movie ever. I'm like, I mean, it's good, and it accomplished a lot of things.
It didn't happen, but there was a planned trilogy. Ponty, the second one, and the writer himself talks about this, was going to be a little more direct and taking place simultaneously with this, but a little more a direct approach. I do think it would have risked the Cube effect, which if you saw the Cube sequels, it's like, well, now you're just explaining a little too much and that sense of mystery and dread is gone. Pugs, I can't remember. Had you seen this before, or was this a first time watch for you? I'm curious to get your take.
I had thought I'd seen this before, and I was wrong. I've never saw it before. I don't know how this one slipped by me. This is like right up my alley because I do like ambiguous movies and movies that leave it up to like. Because I got a fucked up brain, so I like everything I envision is going to be way worse than what you can put on screen usually. So that works in this favor. But the thing I'm most impressed about in this story is how they went about telling the story. It's just a bunch of people explaining what's going on, and we don't really get to see it until we do a little bit. And I appreciated that little peek, like, oh, this is it. Here you go. Oh, okay, that's now I know where to go. But I found the characters fascinating. I liked everybody. Mizzy, the main dude, he's a jerk, but like I kind of root for him. Yeah, it was cool. Like I'm somewhere in the middle though, because I don't think it's like the best movie ever made. But I get why someone would say that, because like it's a unique way of telling that type of story. So
yeah,
and the way he used language to suit his own purposes.
That is brilliant, actually, because like Jamie mentioned, Rush Limbaugh. You can go Alex Jones, and you're just feeding bullshit to create chaos, and it's So that is timely as fuck. Like that's amazing. So
yeah.
You could have had a Rush zombie at this point, but
smoke coming out of his neck.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the idea too with the language, like it being strictly English, and then they speak French, which they were actually speaking French because I know French or some anyway, and nice. I understood a lot of what they were saying, so they were definitely speaking French. The fact that they did that tells me that they're looking at it as if it is like a problem that revolves around our culture. You know, like American culture, British culture.
USA.
Yeah, right. And it's true. I think it is true because I think that even in the UK, they have a ton of shock jocks there too that, you know, do the same thing. They say, you know, outrageous things for reaction. And I think that has been detrimental to society, to be honest. So I understand why they want to tell that story. It makes a lot of sense to me and I really appreciate it.
Did you guys
leave the gay frogs alone?
Did you guys also? Well, you can't take gay frogs seriously, but did you guys also kind of get like the War of the Worlds vibe? I know a lot of that original radio thing had been debunked a little bit, but I do love the idea of just like you're just hearing all this, and it's like reading a novel almost with this movie. That first where it's like, what's going on? We've only got these voices telling us, and
they didn't know if it was true or not.
Yeah, it can't be real, sort of deal. I love particularly like isolated winter themed horror films, and which I think this is, for me at least, was a really good one, because there's a lot going on in this movie, and there is a lot of comic relief too. Stephen Mchattie at one point kind of channels Ash from Evil Dead, and kind of so it does have a sense of humor, but yeah, I don't know. I still like this one. It's a movie that I think about often ever since I saw it. So even though it does split people, and this is one of those ones I've said before, I can't promise anybody's going to love it, but I'm in the love it camp. I will say, and I think it's actually better than the book, to be honest. But Todd, where are you at on Pontypool? Because I don't think you and I ever discussed it. I think Melissa and I might have way back in the day, but
no, we didn't, because I didn't get around to watching it. This one and Doghouse from around the same time are both highly recommended, which I still haven't watched Doghouse either. But so
that's a good horror comedy.
No, I haven't.
I'm thinking Dog Tooth.
No.
Well, Dog Tooth's a heavy one.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure going in. I also get why it would split people. I'm more in the light category, but it's one I feel like I need to watch again to really absorb. But like I said, I did enjoy it, and I think on subsequent viewings, I think I'll like it more.
Yeah, and I it's also interesting because you can see the chemistry. Stephen Mchattie and Lisa Hull are actually married in real life.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, you can sort of see the actual annoyance that she might just wasn't hard to channel. Stephen Mchattie doesn't get enough attention. One of the best actors.
I like that guy. He's in a lot of stuff, and I never really even knew his name. And I'm like, who is that guy? Because he's memorable. He reminds me of somebody else. Right?
He gets a lot of
Lance
there you go. Yeah, he gets compared to Henriksen a lot.
Yeah, he does look like him.
Was he the one in Thinner?
Mchattie?
No. He was in Thinner. He was
Robert John.
I get those three confused. Yeah, because he was RoboCop also in the third one.
Yeah.
Which
we got a dog cameo.
Peter Weller. Yeah. What's the dog's name? Is that Peter Weller?
No, Monsterella.
What is it?
Monsterella.
Monsterella.
Cool name.
I had a pit bull named Monster.
Oh, nice.
Dogs are the best.
Watches the movies with you.
Yep.
My pug mix, Quark, likes to sit and watch the movies with me. So yeah. I think he was hopefully pretty fascinated by this one. I will also say, if you can get a hold of it, this is a region-free Blu-ray.
Long out of print Blu-ray.
Yeah, but if you're lucky, you never know. Flea market, whatever. The Kaleidoscope Blu-ray also has the an original radio play, which is interesting, a commentary, which, like I said, this is one I highly recommend if you can listen to the commentary, which I don't remember if it was on the DVD or not, because you may not like this movie, then like it later when you watch it again and think about certain things. It is very discussion worthy. So if you're somebody that likes to watch a movie and then talk about it, this is a good pick. It really is. And I think it's a intelligent zombie-ish movie. I said, yeah. But definitely not a gore film. I think in 2008, people didn't. They weren't. I think it would play better today in a way because there's more zombie burnout now. We're 11 years, I think, into Walking Dead. Lots and lots of those styles of zombie films and TV series have hit over that time. And this one back then, it's just like, oh, I want I want the gut munching and everything. And it's like, well, 2008, yeah, I guess we were starting the zombie boom, but we didn't have as many as we do now. So guys, you should go back, revisit this. Hopefully maybe Shudder will put it up at some point. I think this will find a lot of new audience.
It's not available on digital, but
yeah,
I do believe the DVD is still in print, which I'm confirming as I speak.
Unbelievably, I was at Walmart like 2 weeks ago going through the $5 Blu-ray bin, and I found it in there, and I didn't pick it up because I had no idea that I could sell it on eBay for $126. And if I would have realized it, I'm going back down there, and I'm gonna rummage again and see if I can find. There's like 3 copies of it in there.
For the DVD?
No, the Blu-ray.
Oh, really? Yeah, go back and grab those.
Are you near the Canadian area? Because maybe that's why. Because wow,
Canada. Yeah. Sometimes Walmart gets overstock from Canada because you'll see some of the Lionsgate stuff with the maple label instead of Lionsgate. So
I noticed that when I'm up in like Northeast, I've seen that before.
Yeah, I'm only 2 hours away from Canada.
Okay.
So, yeah,
there you go.
It's possible.
Yeah, I'd say buy them all, Jamie. You make a little.
I know.
Yeah, especially because they've been out of print for so long.
If I'd have known that when I was looking, because I didn't know they were out of print until after. If I'd have known that, I would have grabbed them right away. But I didn't even think of that. It also, I wanted to say that it reminds me of a few different movies. It reminded me of The Crazies.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Talk Radio. Have you ever seen Talk Radio?
I have. Oliver Stone. Yeah.
I love that movie. I love it. I love that movie. I saw it at the at the theater when I was a kid. I brought my friend Marge with me, and she was like, "What in the hell did you bring me to?" And I was like, "You don't like this? I love it," because I had brought her to They Live, and she thought that was good. So I was hoping she'd like that one, but she didn't. But those 2 movies like seem to be like super prevalent to me. Like it's almost like that person watched those movies and used it as an inspiration a little bit, which I loved. I do love those 2 movies. So seeing the things that I love in it, that's why I give it a 2.5 instead of a, 4 or 3, because it does have, instead of a 1, it does have things in it that I like. It's just that, like I said, I was confused by the dialogue and especially the dialogue between the producer and the radio guy, Mazzy. It was confusing for me. I wish the dialogue were a little bit better, but other than that, it was okay. It was good, and I might actually watch it again. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and Talk Radio is a good one. Eric Bogosian's always been an underrated actor.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you, Melissa, do you have because I can't remember, a favorite zombie film?
I like all the, Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and all that. There was one called The Horde.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really
I remember
good. God, there's so many. I don't even remember.
The Horde was a Canadian
I love The
one
Walking
too.
Dead. I know some people have given up on that, but I just love that they crossed
I still
over.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
will never forget when I went to Screamfest before The Walking Dead came out, and the guy handed me a first edition of The Walking Dead. And he said, "These are only $10 and this is going to be a TV show." And I just rolled my eyes like, really? A zombie TV show? And I didn't buy it. And then it came out and I was like, what the heck? I could have had a first edition. I really didn't think it would come out. And then I was just I have so many. See, I feel like I'm so alone in the world. That's why I love doing stuff like this, because I love talking to people that love horror, because my friends are just not into it. And every time I make them watch something, they're like, what is wrong with you? But Walking Dead really branched got a lot of people into my world, like, because it was so dramatic. So, I mean, I hold that one up there really high. But I love weird stuff. Like I love like zombie Ass of the Dead and
Toilet of the Dead. Yes.
stuff
Zombie
like that.
ass
Yeah.
Toilet of the Dead. That is a
I
classic.
love the weird ones, the ones that are crazy.
Bio
That is-
Zombie's another fun one.
Biozombie, yes. That's yeah. That was when there was a lot of drought in the zombie genre. A good, fun Asian one. Yeah. Well, Melissa, you might have just booked a zombie
Yeah,
ass
right?
Toilet
I
of the Dead movie.
I
We
love
can't
that
be-
movie.
we
That's
can't
the
be
one
classy
that I shot
every
my
time.
friends with. And they're like, what the hell?
I've never seen an episode of Walking Dead. I've never seen it. You know why? Because I'm stubborn, and as soon as I hear people like something, I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to watch that then.
If you like to get emotionally attached to characters, it's the show for you, because I'll never forget that day when Carol's daughter walks out of the barn. I cried like sobbed because of that whole season of looking for that little girl. And when she came walking out of the barn as a zombie, I mean, I was sobbing.
They
like it was real.
Yeah, I mean, it's
protect
gone.
Yeah.
They've gone so long, and I mean, well, Walking Dead's getting ready to end.
I think it's not even that it's gone so long; it's that it's so oversaturated. Like I'm trying to catch up. I still got to finish Fear.
Well, Fear is overtaken it. Fear is actually even.
They
better.
had the one on Shudder, and I just watched it all.
And that's I got to watch that too.
World Beyond.
Yeah. I watched that.
Yeah,
too.
which is just a limited. That's going to be 2 seasons and done. So
yeah, I didn't really like that. I don't like the spin-offs of Walking the Dead. Walking the Dead. I'm drinking wine.
Walking the Dead will be the next one.
I didn't like none of the spin-offs, but the original Walking Dead, oh my gosh. It's like the old soap operas we used to watch. And like when Laura and Luke got married, you were just so emotional.
I remember that.
Walking Dead, I'm telling you, you would love The Walking Dead because you get so emotionally attached, like they're your family or something. And when they die, oh my god!
I think that's the problem. They get too emotionally attached, and at a certain point, that where people really dropped off is when they had too much. So.
Yeah, there's probably about 10 games on PlayStation all related to The Walking Dead. And I tried playing one of them one time, but I didn't know any of the characters. So I was like, well, this isn't so fun. So if I maybe watch the show, I might like the games a bit more. But they've got a lot of award-winning games. And a lot of those games, too, they are related to the spin-offs and the offshoots of The Walking Dead. So I thought that was kind of cool that they have a whole bunch of related games, which I'm a big gaming person. So,
and I'm total team Daryl Dixon. If they ever kill him,
I
might stop watching.
When he was a thing at that point, but I was in line to meet him, and a girl passed out in front of me. I still feel bad because I didn't catch her.
It's not your job.
Dan, you're not coordinated enough to catch her. Let's be real.
Well, by the
she
time
just slipped
I
between
did
your arms.
try, but it kind of just she fell too fast. But so
whatever. That's one less person you got to wait behind. Excuse me, miss.
that is true. After that long of a wait, you can just step over.
Snooze you little sister.
She was fine. She didn't. I don't think she lost consciousness, but she just but people love their Daryl. So Melissa, what do you rate this one? We do 0 to 5, so it's pretty standard.
I mean, I would probably say 4. I mean, it was okay because I don't want to rate it low because I'm not smart enough for it. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's a very intelligent film. And that some of it went over my head. So I because they really get, it's like all of you said, like the it's very intelligent. And when they speak in the, trying to think of the word, the
gibberish.
gibberish, basically. Yeah.
No. Like
Okay.
them talking. Anyways, all their talking and stuff. Like it just some of it went over my head, and it was making my
Dialogue?
head spin. Yes, dialogue.
There.
Like it was just making my head spin. I was just like, and I kept rewinding. Like, let me hear that one more time. Maybe I'll get it. Like, and it. So I don't want to rate because I did enjoy it. I mean, I felt anxious to it and everything, and I like it, but it just wouldn't be at the top of the list because I just think it's a little too intelligent for me. I just really do. I'm like a more. I like less cerebral. I mean, sometimes I like cerebral. But I'm like when it's less and I'm just enjoying the chase and the kills, and that makes me happier.
Yes.
So, hey, zombie ass Toilet of the Dead. We won't be
Like
classy
that.
next time.
I have not seen the less of the Dead films. The other.
Yes, I've seen that too.
I got the Blu-ray looking for a reason to watch
Oh my
it.
god! But only if you can handle like Chinese women. Like I don't want to be racist, but Chinese women are horrible to listen to when they're having sex. They all sound the same, and they're kind of annoying.
There's
They just do that. I don't know. If
There's
you watch it, you'll know what
No
I'm talking
comment.
about.
there's a lot of sex
We have a
in
little more
Lust of the Dead.
variety in our.
Let's bump this show up. I want to see that.
So there you go. We're not just going to review classy stuff with the ladies. So
I was not expecting the words having sex. I was expecting like they're annoying. Just they just sound annoying when they're talking. She says having sex.
No.
That's outstanding.
Watch the trailer or something, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like it's just a weird noises thing.
there's some really unusual Asian horror films from that company. A lot of very oddball Asian horror films in general, but we'll have to tackle those next time. Pugs, what do you rate Pontypool?
I am going with a 4. I was thinking about giving it a 4.5, but you didn't quite get there for me. So
Okay,
4.
I figured all over the place. Todd?
I'm a 3.5.
Well, I am the highest. I'm a 5. I love this film. So yeah. Well, ladies, it was great having you on. Like I said, I think this is
Jamie rated it in hearts, but does that still equate to R5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Way to
if
go,
I
Dan.
if I like something, it gets 5 hearts, and if I'm iffy on it, it usually gets 2.5. So I'm gonna go 2.5 on this one because I liked it, but I'm really not a fan of zombie movies at all. Lauren keeps trying to push them on me.
maybe zombie ass Toilet of the Dead will change your mind.
Maybe I tend to like the ones that nobody else likes, like Land of the Dead. I love Land of the Dead.
I like Land of the Dead.
And everybody, when it came out, everybody was like, "Oh, Land of the Dead stinks," and I don't like it. And I'm like, "Why? I love it. It's got a great commentary. It's got Dennis Hopper. How could you not love it? I think
they get too tied up in the timeline is with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like why they have TVs and stuff, but some people are just a little too overcritical on.
Did you like the Texas Chainsaw, the one that everybody
Yes.
didn't like because of the tombstone in the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I like that too.
I almost watched it last night.
Just because of that stupid date. I'm like, what? It was so good.
I pay no attention to that. I'm going to judge it on the actual movie events,
Pugs has
rather
a
than
stuff
like that.
Pugs
It's okay.
has a separate beef with it.
Gravity doesn't work like that. I'm mad at that shirt.
Just watch True Detective.
I love that show.
Right?
Yeah.
The fucking best.
Awesome.
I still need to watch it.
Two also.
Season
You'll
1,
like it, Todd.
I don't really care for
Nice.
season 2, but
No, season 2 is
though.
terrible.
That's what I've heard, but
that's what's up.
Did
I'll
you
check
watch
out all
Big
3.
Sky? Because that has something to do with David Lynch. I think he produced it or something.
Big Sky. I don't know. I don't think so. Not that one.
It's a series, a TV series. But
I'll
I
have to look
think
that up.
David Lynch had something to do with it. Maybe he produced it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have to check that out.
He's actually up to something right now, people.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on, and it's either called Wisteria or Recorded Night. We're not sure which one it is, and those are both the working names, so we're not sure what it's going to be called in the end. But I am so excited. I'm so excited.
I just looked up Big Sky real quick. It's David Kelly. Who did
Oh,
Big
you're
Little
right.
Lies.
Dadgummit.
No,
When you
I
said
just-
that, then I was like, wait a minute, you're right.
That's all right. I just wanted to, which is on Hulu if you guys want to check it out.
oh,
That's
nice.
a good show, though. It reminded me of Twin Peaks. I don't know why.
I'll have to check that out. It sounds right up my alley.
It's
And-
milder, though. It's not as extreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm due a rewatch on Twin Peaks, and actually, Jamie, you're on your Jamie's Heart, JAMIS, right? Heart on YouTube.
Well, now it's Jamie Hart.
Jamie Hart. Okay.
Yeah, I changed it because everybody was saying that they were having a hard time looking up my channel because of
The apostrophe. Yeah, it's
So-
little things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just changed it to my first name, Jamie, and then Hart, as if it's my last name.
Okay, and you're going to be doing, I believe you said a Twin Peaks episode by episode breakdown. So
I am. I'm going to be doing Twin Peaks Tuesday starting this month, and I'm going to do about 2 or 3 episodes for every episode I do. I'll watch 2 or 3 episodes, and then I'll talk about them. And sometimes I'll have guests on. So if you guys want to do the rewatch along with me, join in, and it'll be fun. Everybody come into the chat and have conversation.
absolutely, I plan on doing that. And Melissa, I know you have your Creepy Girl Facebook page, right?
Yeah. I haven't gotten into I'm building a podcast room, so when
Yes,
my podcast room is finished.
absolutely. So we'll be seeing a lot more of you here and elsewhere. So that'll be really cool. I'm looking
Awesome.
forward to your podcast room. I know you got the cool setup for it, so it'll be fun. You get to build that up. I bought a green screen, which I probably am not going to use a lot, but I do kind of like the idea of playing with backdrops and everything. So someday I don't know. I'll try and coordinate it with the movies we watch. Maybe we get zombies in the background or something cool. Learning my tech, as Todd knows, I am a tech wizard. So, yeah, I'm getting there.
The lawnmower Dan.
The lawnmower down, indeed. So yeah, I'm really happy you guys joined us today. I think you were
Absolutely.
awesome. Be sure to follow the ladies wherever they are. We'll have you back.
Well,
of course.
Not like Dan
Yeah,
follows
we-
the ladies wherever they
No,
are. Watch
not-
your words, Dan.
Not in a creepy way. Just follow
Well,
them.
On
to their
socials.
car, to their house. Don't be
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, don't be weird,
Don't
but
be weird.
just yeah. So, but enjoy their content is a better way to put that. So, guys, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on YouTube. That really helps. So, yeah, just if you do that, we appreciate it. Virtual hugs as always. Also, patreon.com/fleshwindfeatures for exclusive, original, early content. That all starts at just $1, so you can get on there. And fleshwindfeatures.com as always. Ladies, anything else you want to plug before we call it a wrap tonight?
Just watch Region Free and sub to Jamie Hart.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Well, with
Dan's
that being said,
confused.
follow us across all the social media bullshit. Check us out on Patreon. And with that, we'll get the hell out of here. Melissa, say goodnight.
Good night.
Jamie,
Good night.
Dan,
Guten Tag.
Heilshine.
and I'll see you in Disneyland.